Part 175. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1741. Seeing Wang Xinchen coming together with Zhang Yun, Lu Shui, General Su, and others, Feng Qingxiu patted the back of Lu Jiang's hand and reminded him to greet them, and no longer focused on the skirts worn by Su Maixiang and others. In a sea of black, gray, blue, and green, the appearance of dresses represents that lesbians have finally taken the first step in the pursuit of beauty. Even if it's quite political, it's still something to be happy about. Wang Xinchen, Zhang Yun, Lu Shui, and others were very happy to see Feng Qingxiu, especially Wang Xinchen, who had smooth wrinkles and a kind smile. After saying hello, Lu Shui and General Su were invited over, and he said to Feng Qingxue said, "When did you come to the capital? You didn't come to my place to sit there. Your aunt talks about you every day." Feng Qingxiu smiled and said, "Next time, I will visit you and aunt again when I have the opportunity. I came back from the South China Sea and arrived in the capital by plane. I thought that 1 month would be plenty of time. My father and Zibao are both in Jiangxi. I'll just stay with a few children at my brother's house for 2 days and meet them, and then I'll have to go back to the Wuchen army soon." Zhang Yun was very happy to hear that the children were at home. "Why don't you go back with Lu Jiang? A month is still too early. When the situation is not tense, sometimes the army's arrangements are very humane. Giving the seconded doctors a month to return to their original posts is actually giving them a period of good rest in disguise. Of course, there is also the problem of long distances and not human beings. Everyone has the opportunity to fly back." Although she had a month, Feng Qingxiu really couldn't return to her job as soon as the month was over. She had no choice but to pay attention to the impact, especially since Lu Jiang's every move was now under the eyes of others. The few days she stayed in the capital were no different to her. Therefore, Feng Qingxiu could only bear the pain and said to Zhang Yun, "It will take Jiang 10 or 20 days to go back. I won't wait for him." "Then leave the child, I'll go home in 2 days," Zhang Yun said decisively. People like the excitement when they get older. Lu Chen is too lonely, and he likes several children of the Lu family who are generous, naughty, smart and lively. Feng Qingxiu smiled and said, "Then you have to ask the child what he wants. I can't make the decision. The child is young, but he has his own wishes. As parents, she and Lu Jiang have always respected their children." Zhang Yun nodded, "I'll ask again when I get back. He has plenty of ways to make a few children stay willingly." Just when Feng Qingxiu was about to speak, she heard someone announcing that the dance had started. It was Lu Shui who announced it. She couldn't help being stunned for a moment and whispered, "The old leader and the others haven't come yet. Why has it started?" Wang Xinchen waved his hand. "The old leader is old and has some difficulty in moving. He will not come to participate this time." Feng Qingxiu suddenly understood and asked about the old leader's physical condition. Wang Xinchen and others naturally agreed and were unwilling to reveal more. Feng Qingxiu also understood this rule and asked no more questions. When the music started playing, many veteran cotters and their dancing partners stepped onto the dance floor in 2s and 3s. Wang Xinchen smiled at the couple and said, "Go and dance. It's a rare occasion to participate." Lu Jiang had participated in many dances in the capital, and without exception, he never left the stage. Those who had been in the capital for a long time naturally knew the scene when he attended the dance for the first time, and admired his determination. At this time, he and his wife coming together, everyone's eyes immediately followed their figures, and they danced very well. You advance and I retreat, one is strong and the other is soft, so harmonious that it makes people feel like they are looking at a painting. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1742. Following the dance steps to the music, Feng Qingxiu suddenly felt like she was back in a modern dance party. Soft music, elegant dance steps, men and women arm in arm, whispering words to each other, and the fragrance of wine flowing in the air are intertwined into a piece of splendor known as the fragrance of clothes and shadows on the temples. Lu Jiang put his hand around her thin and soft waist. "What are you thinking about?" She stepped on his foot in the wrong step. Feng Qingxiu suddenly traveled back from the flash of light, and quickly changed her dance steps to keep up with Lu Jiang's rhythm. Wherever her eyes looked, there was only a dull black, gray, blue and green, and there was no colorful scene seen in the trance. Lu Jiang asked again. She raised the corners of her mouth and smiled. "It's my first time to attend a dance, so I'm a little nervous." Lu Jiang didn't believe it, but he also knew the situation he was in. He didn't continue to ask, but said, "If there is a chance, I will still take you with me to the dance next time." "That will only happen if you have the opportunity." She was embarrassed to leave her post when she was busy at work. "Sometimes I feel that work is very important. I not only maintain my financial independence, but also contribute my own strength to save lives and help the wounded. Sometimes I feel that work is very troublesome. Because I am busy, I neglect my family, neglect the relationship between my family and the relationship between husband and wife. There is even less time, so that married life in these years has become dull. Fortunately, we are born in this era where purity and absurdity coexist. Everyone's sense of responsibility is generally higher than that of later generations, and their lifestyle is extremely strictly managed. Although there are people who empathize with other people, they are still in the minority. Fortunately, Lu Jiang was none other than someone who was devoted to her, otherwise he would have had to worry about the 7-year itch. Lu Jiang naturally understood the implication of his wife's words, and whispered in her ear, "It is too important at this stage, and you and I cannot be willful. Wait a moment, and when there is a new generation of successors, we will step back, live a life of just the two of us." Feng Qingxiu flattened her mouth and sighed. "I didn't know I would have to wait until the year of the monkey and the moon of the horse. The higher the level, the later they retire. Some even retire in name only but are actually still working. And professional talents may not be able to retire as they please when they reach their age. She is 32 years old and will have to work for at least another 20 years. Then cherish the present moment." After dancing, Lu Jiang took her down to drink tea. Several veteran cotters were exhausted and had already sat on the sofa outside the dance floor to talk. When they saw the couple, they immediately waved. Wang Xinchen said directly, "Lu Jiang, Xiaoxiu, come here." When the two arrived, they said hello a few times and then sat down. The service staff quickly brought 2 bowls of tea and placed them in front of them. There were also some fruits and snacks on the table. The apple missing from the fruit plate was currently in Zhang Yun's hand. Half of it had been eaten by the old man. The weekend dance was naturally not for dancing. The old revolutionaries were talking about work matters. Lu Jiang and Feng Qingxiu listened quietly and did not interrupt casually. Unconsciously mentioning the Xisha naval battle, Lu Shui smiled at Lu Jiang and Feng Qingxiu. "You two have made great contributions, especially you, Lu Jiang, are really good." Lu Jiang said modestly, "It should be done. I don't dare to take credit." He knew that Lu Shui was talking about the Special Forces unit. Now the first batch of Special Forces units had quietly moved to the capital and carried out their mission secretly. They were no longer under his jurisdiction. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1743. Lu Shui patted him on the shoulder. "It's a merit or a demerit. How can you say you don't take any credit even though you have done something good? If you don't remember, we will remember it for you. Lu Jiang's contribution is unknown. Many of the things he has been responsible for in the past 2 years are recorded in top-secret files, including many of the tasks of the Special Forces. They are also classified as secrets. Only senior cadres who have reached a certain level have the right to know. Several old revolutionaries present knew this, so they praised Lu Jiang very much. How can we not be happy when we have a successor? Lu Shui said to Feng Qingxiu again, I heard that you had an opportunity to go abroad for exchange at the beginning of the year, but it was delayed because of secondment. Feng Qingxiu hurriedly said, how can you say that serving the country is delayed? There will be many opportunities to go abroad in the future, but the country's mission comes first. The medical exchange meeting did not say who must participate in the invitation. As for the various preparations made for going abroad, there is no need to mention it at this time. Lu Shui's eyes showed approval. In this environment, they didn't say much and quickly changed the subject and stopped mentioning work matters. Wang Xinchen unknowingly mentioned Shi Guantao, his old wife's newly recognized nephew. Guo Xia brought Shi Guantao to visit relatives. We just found out about this, and your teacher and your aunt were almost mad. If the Shi family's parents were not dead, they would have to come to the door. Dr. Guo was kind as a mother, but Gu Qing was unfilial as a son. It's not that he was bad, but his attitude towards Dr. Guo and his indulgence in his wife Shen Ziyuven's misbehavior made the Guo family angry. They privately said that he was a white-eyed wolf. Guo Ming, his wife, and Guo Yan already had strong opinions on him. When they found out that he was not the biological son of the Gu family, they naturally became angrier. In the past, they were worried that he was Dr. Guo's only son. In the future, there will be no one to care for him until his death. Now Dr. Guo's son has another son, and he is also a very upright and outstanding retired soldier. He wants to skin the Shi family's parents. If he had grown up in the Gu family, how outstanding would Shi Guantao have become? Gu Datu will definitely have a successor, and Dr. Guo will not have to face the demands of Gu Qing and Shen Ziyufen. This matter also spread among the various courtyards in the capital, and both Lu Shui and Zhang Yun heard about it. Hearing what Wang Xinchen said, Lu Shui said, I heard he is Lu Jiang's comrade. Yes, Lu Jiang straightened his back. Before and after Shi Guantao's life experience was revealed, Zhao Yang and Feng Qingxiu did not hide it from him, and they knew it better than outsiders. Back then, he and I were both soldiers under Master Gu, because since he was young, everyone took extra care of him. Mr. Gu also said something at the beginning, but it was a pity that Mr. Gu died and did not know that Shi Guantao was his biological son until his death. This Mr. Gu is naturally Gu Datu. His nickname is so famous that his real name is unknown. Lu Shui sighed and said, Old Wang, is this kid not married yet? Wang Xinchen nodded. Guo Yan is helping him in all directions. Guo Xia entrusted this matter to us before she left. She will return to Beijing at the end of the year and Guantao works in the capital. Naturally, it is better to start a family here. If the partner is far away, he may not be able to live. At the same time, Guantao feels that he is very old, and he is very greedy. He doesn't really want to have a family, and he is not willing to find a young man for fear of delaying others. Look slowly, and you can always find the right one. There are not many other things in our capital compound, but there are many lesbians. Gu Datu is just a son, so we can't really ask him to be a bachelor. After hearing what Lu Shui said, everyone laughed and agreed. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1744. Next, several gray-haired seniors came over, looking energetic and strong. Lu Jiang and Feng Qingxiu quickly stood up and gave up their seats with a very respectful attitude. Both of them were important old revolutionaries. Feng Qingxiu did not continue dancing with Lu Jiang, but listened to the old people talking. Using the topic just now, Gu Datu talked about other heroes who died, including the various difficulties encountered during the anti-Japanese war and their solutions, etc. He also mentioned several famous battles in history, and also talked about the hardships of climbing snow-capped mountains and crossing grasslands. Many of them were unknown, and Feng Qingxiu listened with interest. She feels that the sacrifices of our predecessors should be remembered by future generations. Seeing that she was interested in the past, several seniors spoke more energetically, because children who were born in the peaceful and prosperous times had never experienced the pain of war or exploitation and oppression. More and more children are paying attention to the events before the founding of the People's Republic of China. I have lost interest in history and am unwilling to listen to it. Feng Qingxiu silently remembered it in her heart, and suddenly came up with the idea that she was really lucky to live in a peaceful and prosperous age. Near the end of the dance, the elderly people they met for the first time smiled at Feng Qingxiu and said, "Little girl, you are very nice. Come to Yukwan Mountain to play with us when you have time. We still have hundreds of stories to tell Miles." Feng Qingxiu said respectfully, "If you have the chance, I will definitely go and visit you. Just don't mind me disturbing you. Don't bother, don't bother. We live in a nursing home and have nothing to do. No one talks to us, but we feel very lonely." Most of these elderly people lived in the nursing home in Yukwan Mountain after they retired, and Luo Cheng was also there. They came here to join in the fun. Feng Qingxiu was extremely lucky to attend today and be able to meet these old revolutionaries. What a privilege it is to meet them and hear their stories. Sitting in the jeep going back, Feng Qingxiu held Lu Jiang's arm. The abilities, knowledge, and experience of the old revolutionaries are far beyond our reach. If you have time, go visit one or two. I want to listen to their stories and record them. Come down here for future generations to learn from, and you can also ask them for advice. There are only advantages and no disadvantages. Lu Jiang touched the broken hair on her temples. I understand what you mean. I have been to the capital more often this year. I went to Yukwan Mountain several times. Mr. Wang took me to visit him. I learned a lot from them. Something to know. Why haven't I heard you mention it? Feng Qingxiu blinked. Lu Jiang chuckled, maybe I was busy and forgot. In fact, as a beneficiary, he felt that there was no need to publicize it. The situation was still unstable and there were many jealous people. The most important thing was that he mainly asked the seniors for advice on military issues and could not let the secrets leak out, including his wife's inside. Feng Qingxiu gave him a white look, her eyes flowing and shining. Unfortunately, it was already midnight when we got back to our residence. After a tiring day, we could only pack up and go to bed. When Feng Qingxiu woke up the next day, there was indeed no figure of Lu Jiang beside her pillow. She ate the breakfast he had prepared as usual, washed her clothes and hung them up to dry, and walked slowly to Jiang's house. Before entering, she planned to tell her family about her plan to go back. He also asked them if they would stay at Jiang's house for a few days and then go back with Lu Jiang. After entering the door, they ran directly to their daughter. "Fu Bao, why are your eyes red? It doesn't look like a mosquito bite." Seeing his mother's arrival, Fu Bao threw himself into her arms and hugged her waist, rubbing her and saying nothing. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1745. Feng Qingxiu was extremely worried and looked at Zhang Xiaoyu. Father Lu, Cheng Baoqiu, and his wife were not here, nor were Zibao, the triplets, and Lu Chen. They were probably out playing. Zhang Xiaoyu came over and patted her sister-in-law on the shoulder. Okay, let's not cry. Let your mother make you a floral skirt. It will definitely look better than theirs." "What floral skirt?" Feng Qingxiu was confused. Zhang Xiaoyu smiled and said, "Last year when we received foreign friends, we arranged a group of primary school students to line up to welcome them. They were all girls, wearing white shirts, floral skirts, red scarves, and pink flowers. Their shirts and trousers were black and gray. The blue and green ones naturally looked great, and people followed suit soon after. Because they were all worn by children, it didn't cause any trouble. I took Fubao to buy buns early in the morning, and I met the most unruly girl in the compound. A little dispute. After hearing this, Feng Qingxiu said uncertainly, Fubao is beautiful and always attracts the most attention wherever he goes. Could it be that the other party is attacking Fubao because he is dressed in a rustic and unfashionable way? Zhang Xiaoyu slapped her thigh. Otherwise, how can I say that, auntie? You are extremely smart. Fubao sniffed, with a hint of whimpering in his voice. I didn't offend her, but she scolded me for blocking her way. The clothes my mother made for me are very nice, I don't care about her floral skirt. Although the current styles are single, Feng Qingxiu is very careful in dressing her daughter. Fubao is currently wearing a white shirt and sky blue overalls. Feng Qingxiu made them for her when she was making clothes 2 days ago. It has a lotus leaf collar and lantern sleeves. The person wearing the clothes is very beautiful, which makes the clothes look even more beautiful. Fresh and beautiful. Of course our Fubao is the most beautiful girl, and Fubao's clothes are also very good looking. Didn't there many girls bring their mothers to see your shirt styles yesterday? They all came to learn because they thought they looked good. Zhang Xiaoyu comforted, we are not of the same level as Sujiao Qiao. Let your mother make you a flowery dress that is more beautiful than hers. You will make her jealous. Feng Qingxiu frowned, who is Sujiao Qiao? Zhang Xiaoyu said casually, Sujunchu, the granddaughter of Mr. Su, is the most unruly and willful one in our courtyard. She is a bit lawless due to her family background. Many of the disciples in the courtyard are already arrogant and domineering, and this one is even more so. Qiao Xiao, who is about the same age as Fubao, thinks she is the prettiest and is very proud of her. She often makes a group of boys in the compound play around. Unexpectedly, Fubao suddenly shows up. He is prettier than her, has a sweeter personality and speaks softly. Xiu Yu, I guess she was thinking about it, and that's why we had today's dispute. In fact, she was just looking for trouble, and even attacked her because Fubao didn't have a flowery dress. Probably in the eyes of many people, fashionable clothes are the best looking, and those who fail to keep up with the fashion are outdated and rustic. Feng Qingxiu touched her daughter's head and said, good boy, let's not be sad. Your sister-in-law has a sewing machine at home, and mommy has a pile of fabric in her luggage. Mommy will make you a skirt. Fubao has wanted to wear a skirt for a long time. It's a rare opportunity, so why not? Fubao's eyes suddenly flashed with light. Really? Can I really wear a skirt? Of course, Mom will do it for you. Because the weather was getting colder, Feng Qingxiu did not choose a thin floral fabric. Instead, she found a piece of thicker red plaid fabric and made a half-length pleated skirt for Fubao, with 1 pleat per inch and the length of the skirt up to the calf. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1746. After the skirt was finished, Feng Qingxiu showed it to Zhang Xiaoyu. She hadn't been to the capital for a long time and didn't know the popular elements of floral skirts, so she asked Fubao to check it out before she got on it. Zhang Xiaoyu spread it on the sofa, looked at it for a moment, and couldn't help but praise, "Aunt, your craftsmanship is nothing extraordinary. It's just that the style is beautiful and fashionable. Yes, it looks foreign. Please let Fubao wear it for us. Look." Fubao took it into the bedroom and couldn't wait to put it on. The white shirt with lotus leaf collar and lantern sleeves on the upper body was not taken off, and the hem was directly tucked into the waist of the skirt. Fu Bao has been well nourished since he was a child and has never suffered any hardships. He will be 10 years old in 2 months, which means he will be 11 years old. He is taller than other children of the same age. His skin is black and his hair is slim. Looks good. Feng Qingxiu and Zhang Xiaoyu followed her into the house. Zhang Xiaoyu circled around her twice and was full of praise. Everyone often says that people want clothes as if they want gold. But look, our lucky treasure can even wear through a sack. They look infinitely better than many girls in good clothes. Auntie, does this outfit look better with a pair of white socks? I remember Wengzia bought Fubao a pair of black square-topped leather shoes. Guancheng and Zhou Wengzia lived in the capital. Feng Qingyun went abroad and never came back. Zhou Wengzia and Zhang Xiaoyu had frequent contacts. When Zhang Xiaoyu sent things to the Lu family, Zhou Wengzia and Guancheng also sent a share. The capital is the political center. As long as you have money and power, you can buy things that ordinary people cannot buy. Can this skirt be worn out? Feng Qingxiu was unsure. Yes, I can wear it, Zhang Xiaoyu said without hesitation. The popular floral skirts among little girls are all skirts like this. Most of the styles are the same, but there are many that I have made changes in the details. And there are also pleated skirts. They are worn by children anyway, and some adults won't even notice them, not to mention the sudden appearance of dresses with pleats. Feng Qingxiu felt relieved, remembering the dress Su Maixiang wore. I saw Su Maixiang wearing a floral dress at the dance yesterday, and several lesbians also wore it. Is it the latest fashion in the capital? Zhang Xiaoyu nodded and said, it appeared this summer, and those who jumped on the trend imitated it as soon as possible. It will be promoted nationwide by the end of the year. With that said, Zhang Xiaoyu told Feng Qingxiu that many fashion designers had been gathered to design this dress. If we see one on sale next year, let's buy two to wear like her daughter. Feng Qingxiu has longed to wear skirts for a long time. As for the political significance of skirts, it really has no impact on her. Zhang Xiaoyu said, even if you don't buy it, there are still people urging you to buy it. I guess by then female cotters will have to take the lead in wearing it. Feng Qingxiu understood and turned to look at her daughter. Fu Bao, do you like it? I like it so much. Fu Bao couldn't put it down, his watery eyes sparkling with dazzling light. He rubbed his mother affectionately and hugged her waist. When I go out, no one will say that I am a little country girl. Feng Qingxiu stroked her back. Take it off and I'll wash it for you. Wear it again tomorrow. She found the material from the space, and she didn't feel comfortable letting her family members wear it until it was cleaned. Fu Bao said quickly, I wash it myself. Mom has been working very hard making my skirt, and I need to take a rest. She started washing small clothes when she was 7 or 8 years old. Her own and her brother's clothes were not a delicate girl's, but they were bulky and thick clothes that she couldn't wash and couldn't be cleaned, so the adults always took care of it. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1747. Feng Qingxiu listened to her daughter's words and did not refuse. Although she loves her children very much, she still hopes that her children will take care of their own food, clothing, and daily life from an early age. After all, parents cannot accompany their children for a lifetime. When they become adults, they have to rely on themselves when they go out. If you take good care of your children, you will never let yourself suffer. Fu Bao washed the skirt carefully, soaping it up specially. After rinsing it, he found 2 wooden clamps to clamp the nylon rope and the sides of the skirt waist, straighten it and hang it down to dry, instead of placing it directly on the rope. Putting it on the rope will leave creases on the skirt, Fu Bao said to Feng Qingxiu. She finally had a dress she could wear, so of course she had to cherish it. Feng Qingxiu smiled and put a large basin of washed clothes on the clothesline one by one. Several children ran out to play early in the morning. Why did they have the nerve to let the Zhang family's orderlies and nannies give them their changed clothes? Wash. I had to work hard for her. After finishing their work, Feng Qingxiu said hello to Zhang Xiaoyu and took her daughter to go shopping. There are a lot of old people and children in her family. The Zhang family's little supply is not enough for their family for the past few days. No matter how good the relationship is and how close the relationship is, she will not be shameless and live in vain and then eat in vain. The Guangdong general food stamps in Feng Qingxiu's hand were not used up, and she did not exchange them for national food stamps before departure, but left them with Dr. Guo and sister-in-law Gu. However, the national food stamps she brought with her before going to Nanhai were almost useless. Before it expired, she took out 5 kilograms of food stamps and bought a large bag of steamed buns, and also bought 2 large dishes to put in her lunch box. There are a lot of people in the family, and even if 2 big dishes are put on the table, only a few chopsticks per person will be gone. So, the mother and daughter turned to delicatessens. Cooked meats are also made from raw meat. Some of them require meat tickets, which are more expensive than buying raw meat because they require processing fees. Some of them do not require tickets, such as chicken heads, duck feet, pigs, etc. Feng Qingxiu naturally buys the ones without tickets. Life is like this, those who need tickets rely on tickets, and those who don't need tickets rely on money. The rich will never live too badly. The little girl felt a little distressed because of the money spent. Mom, my sister-in-law has a lot of potatoes at home. Let's go to the grocery store tomorrow to cut some meat and stew it in a pot. It will be delicious and filling. Feng Qingxiu touched her braids and said softly, "It's good that you know at a young age that life is not easy and you need to be diligent and frugal. In our own home, of course we can do this. We can also stew potatoes with a little meat. No, but as a large group of us are staying at your sister-in-law's house, we can't be stingy in this regard. Everyone says that daughters need to be well raised to avoid being blinded by a little flashiness when they grow up. In fact, this richness not only refers to pampering in life, but also spiritual and social upbringing." Fu Bao said sensibly, "I understand, it's like when I go to someone else's house, they won't say anything even if I am empty-handed, but if I bring some gifts, even half a pack of biscuits, they will be very happy. We buy food when we take it back to my sister-in-law's house, she may say that we are too polite and wasteful, but she must think that we are good people. Yes, Fu Bao is so smart, the way to get along is to stay together for a long time." After buying the things, Feng Qingxiu took her daughter back. She passed by the Military Region Service Club and bought Luchan a tin frog and a pound of white rabbit toffee. "You can wear the skirt I made for you today, but don't show off on purpose, act normally, especially don't run up to that Sujiaojiao and let her see it." Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1748. Fu Bao was puzzled. Sujiaojiao had ridiculed her for wearing tacky clothes. She had remembered it all and wanted to vent her anger in front of Sujiaojiao. "Why, Mom? I was like, let her see." Feng Qingxiu smiled and said, "There are some things that we must stick to the end without giving in, and there are some things that we don't have to worry about too much and let ourselves fall behind. Although I have never seen a girl like Sujiaojiao, I can expect it. In addition to relying on her beauty, she must also be narrow-minded. She will think that you are deliberately provocative when you appear in front of her in a skirt, and she must hold a grudge against you." At this point, she paused and continued, "Of course our family is not afraid of theirs. She is just the granddaughter of Sushui. Her parents are of average rank, but you are the daughter of the military commander. There are many powerful relatives in our family. Friends, we have a very good relationship. However, if she has any plans, you will know nothing about it and you will definitely be unable to prevent her. She is a local snake. We are just here as guests and will go back in a few days. Besides, others will know that you are sarcastic because of Sujiaojiao. If you deliberately make a better looking skirt instead of a flowery one and show it off, you will be said to be too fussy at a young age. Fussy is not a good word. Fu Bao has been studying since he was a child, and his knowledge is far better than that of his peers. He naturally understands the meaning of words. He pursed his cherry red mouth and frowned, but I feel angry when I think about her sarcastic words about me. What's there to be angry about? She's not missing a piece of meat. To put it bluntly, she's jealous that you are prettier than her. She has a sense of crisis in her heart and is worried that you will steal her limelight. Feng Qingxiu smiled. When someone is sarcastic to you, there must be someone present. The people who hear it will only say that the girl is mean, deliberately stirs up trouble, and is not nice to others. As soon as such words are spread, her reputation will become worse and worse. Apart from sarcastic words to make her feel comfortable, there is actually no benefit at all. Fu Bao thought about it carefully for a moment, and it was true. When she came back crying all the way, she inevitably met some family members who were accompanying the army. They asked Zhang Xiaoyu the reason, and as expected, they didn't say a single good word about Su Jiaoqiao, and they all said all sorts of bad things about Su Jiaoqiao. I listen to my mother and don't wear it out to show to others. I wear it at home to show to my elders. Anyway, I'm satisfied with the skirt to wear. It's a pity that I can't wear the clothes Christine gave me. Fu Bao hugged the wind. Qingxiu's arm changed her mind obediently. It would be annoying enough if she really got into trouble with Su Jiaoqiao. After coming here for a few days, she could hear Su Jiaoqiao's name every day. Feng Qingxiu praised, "We Fu Bao are so good, we should be more generous in our behavior." After walking for a while, Fu Bao's sharp eyes saw his elder brother and younger brother playing on the billiard court. Dun Dun and Erxian were fighting in a decent manner, while Zibao and Zhuang were standing by to watch the battle. Feng Qingxiu saw no trace of Yayan, but saw a girl standing in front of Zibao, talking to him with her face raised. The girl is about the same age as Fu Bao. She wears a white shirt on her upper body, a red scarf, and a bright red floral skirt underneath. The hem of her shirt is tucked into the waist of her skirt. She wears black leather sandals and white socks. From a distance, she looks like a girl. Compared with girls wearing black, gray, blue, and green long-sleeved trousers, they do look more fashionable and good-looking. Fu Bao immediately said, "Mom, it's Su Jiaoqiao." Su Jiaoqiao was dressed like this in the morning, and her pride could be smelled 100 steps away from her. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1749. When mother and daughter saw Zibao's brothers, Zibao also noticed his mother and sister, who told mother and daughter to be the center of attention wherever they go. So, Zibao directly left Su Jiaoqiao, who ran up to him with a red face and introduced herself, especially stating that her grandfather was Su Junju. She walked up to her mother with her long legs and reached out to take the things. "Mom, you should have called me when you were shopping. How tiring it is for you to carry it yourself." Zibao had the same cute mouth as when he was a child. Feng Qingxiu smiled and said, "When I went to your sister-in-law's house, except for your sister, I didn't see you and your brother. Do I go shopping after I go out and find you? Where are your grandparents? Where is Yayan?" Zibao laughed at first, and then answered her question. Grandpa Cheng and Grandma Cheng met their old comrades and were taken to their home as guests. They didn't come home for lunch. They originally invited us, but we didn't go. Grandpa is old. When I got older, I saw that the sun was coming up and it was a bit poisonous, so I asked Yayan to accompany his grandfather to go home and rest, while I took my brother to play outside. The arrangement is orderly, respecting the elderly and caring for the young. Feng Qingxiu was very satisfied. Call your brother, let's go home. Don't let the vegetables and cooked food we just bought spoil. Zibao called out to the triplets. Zhuang didn't need to call, he had already followed him. Dundun and Erxian, who heard the call, finished a round. Dundun handed the racket to the child lining up next to him. The bear is still a bit unfinished. Let's go, let's go. Let's play again in the afternoon. Dundun went over to pull his brother, took the racket from his hand and handed it to others. As Lu Erxian staggered forward, he turned back and said, "We'll come back in the afternoon." The six mother and son gathered together and walked home happily. It was originally a very beautiful thing, but Sujiao came over unexpectedly, with a standard oval face, two modified willow leaf eyebrows, and a pair of watery pink and phoenix eyes. If it weren't for Fu Bao with Ziyu in front, she is really the most beautiful girl. Of course, this is limited to what Feng Qingxiu has seen in the past few years. "Hello, Auntie, I am Sujiao. Can I call you Auntie?" In front of Feng Qingxiu, Sujiao behaved very well, her eyes full of admiration. "Auntie, you are so young, you are not like Tian Mao at all. My brother's mother is more like my sister." The sentence "brother Tian Mao" almost hurt Feng Qingxiu's teeth, but she suddenly remembered that this was the name of her eldest son. Fu Bao was also shocked. At this moment, how could Sujiao mock her own arrogance in front of her in the morning? If I hadn't known her true face earlier, I would have thought she was such a beautiful and well-behaved girl. Feng Qingxiu turned her eyes and looked at her eldest son. Not to mention, the eldest son, who was 12 years old and 13 years old, was already a handsome young man. He seems to like white shirts very much, and he looks even more handsome. Turning his eyes back to Sujiao's face, Feng Qingxiu was not surprised to see a trace of blush on her cheeks, as well as the admiration and shyness shown by her eyes unconsciously looking at Zibao. Feng Qingxiu was shocked. How old was she? Do you have such thoughts? Feng Qingxiu couldn't tell whether it was the girl's admiration for the boy or the little girl's admiration for the handsome boy. She was not the person involved. She couldn't understand the person's thoughts, but she couldn't point it out in public. After all, the child was still young, so it was really troublesome. It would not be of any benefit to Zibao, so he could only smile openly at Sujiao, assuming the attitude of an elder. Mother and son are mother and son, how can they become siblings? You continue to play, we have to go back. Let's take the first step to cook at home. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1750. After all, Sujiao was young, had not practiced well, and did not have the look to give in immediately after being rejected. She was used to being willful, and she usually spoke and acted on her own terms, only following her own will, so she stood in front of Feng Qingxiu and refused to give way. She suddenly flashed her watery red phoenix eyes and said to Feng Qingxiu affectionately, "Auntie, I feel friendly when I see you, can I go back with you? I like to play with brother Tian Mao." A pair of eyes were still on Zibao, making no secret of his thoughts. She is very smart and knows how to show off her own strengths. Although she is coquettishly demanding, she is very generous, making people think she is a beautiful and cute girl, and they cannot bear to refuse any of her requests. When Fu Bao saw the scene and listened to her words, he almost became angry to death. Sujiao sarcastically said to herself in the morning, now she is targeting her brother, she must have bad intentions. In the past few days when Fu Bao came to the compound, he had heard others say several times when chatting with Zhang Xiaoyu, saying that Sujiao likes all the boys to obey her orders, and whoever disobeys will be isolated from everyone. Not only that, she would also let everyone isolate girls of the same age who she disliked, making that girl unwilling to even go to school or leave the house. The girl's mother came to borrow something and complained to Zhang Xiaoyu about this matter. Fu Bao happened to be nearby and listened attentively. However, he had no conflicts with Su Jiao before this morning, and he returned soon. Wuchen troops, so I didn't take it to heart. Sensing the anger on her daughter's face, Feng Qingxiu squeezed her hand, not wanting her to get involved. Mom, Fu Bao called. Only then did Su Jiao notice Fu Bao following Feng Qingxiu, and couldn't help but widen her eyes. His eyes swept back and forth between her, Feng Qingxiu, and Zibao's faces, and finally landed on Zibao's face. Brother Tianmao, is she your sister? Zibao frowned slightly and said calmly, please give in. Feng Qingxiu did not respond to Su Jiao's request, and Zibao did not answer her question. I'll go with you, I'll go to your house to play. Su Jiao did not apologize to Fu Bao at all, she made the request confidently, and at the same time said with a smile, Brother Tianmao, there is nothing in the compound that I don't know, I'll help you integrate into our compound. Zibao said coldly, no need. For the sake of Mr. Su, boys of the same age saw that Su Jiao was beautiful, so they gave way to her and respected her from top to bottom, which developed her arrogant, domineering and willful character. However, Zibao he would not condone her, not to mention her sister's expression was different from usual. It seemed that something happened that she didn't know about, and it was related to Su Jiao in front of her. Although he has lived in his hometown for many years and only spends a few months each year with his siblings, Zibao loves them more than anyone else and does not allow anyone to make them feel wronged. The originally handsome and gentle boy had a cold expression on his face, giving him a different air of aura. In Su Jiao's opinion, it was even more beautiful. Su Jiao hated others rejecting her the most in her life, but in front of Zibao, she didn't lose her temper like before. Instead, she stamped her feet and said coquettishly, Brother Tianmao, I am Su Jiao. So what if it was Su Jiao? Could it be that everyone would accommodate her? Zibao snorted softly and turned away without hesitation, not bothering to argue with him, and said to Feng Qingxiu, Mom, let's go. Chen Chen went back with Grandpa and Yayan. I don't know if I cried.